Hi, welcome to Lies and Secrets channel. We hope you will have fun with us. Enjoy watching. The warm sun said my skin as I wandered through the fields, the scent of hay and fresh earth enveloping me. Life on the farm had always been serene, predictable in its routine until it wasn't. There's something about the quiet, rhythmic breath of a big horse, the gentle nozzle against your hand that can change you in ways you never imagined. My days had a pattern: waking up early to the roosters, crow tending to the animals, and spending my evenings with my husband Edward. But one morning I found myself walking towards the stable, my heart fluttering with an inexplicable mix of dread and anticipation. That was when I saw him. His name was Thunder, a majestic creature with a coat as black as the night sky. His eyes, deep and intelligent, seemed to see through me, understanding the secrets that lay buried within. You see, I'd always loved animals, their innocence, their loyalty. It was something pure, untainted by the complexities of human relations. But with Thunder something shifted. It started innocently enough, with long hours spent brushing his mane, talking to him about the mundane and the profound, sharing laughter, tears, and silence. But then the unexpected happened. I remember the first time I felt that electric touch, a connection so powerful it made my breath catch in my throat. Was it wrong to feel this way, to find comfort in the warmth of an animal? When my marriage felt colder by the day, the line between affection and something more began to blur. My visits to Thunder became an escape, a secret rendezvous where time slowed and the world outside ceased to exist. I'd linger in the stable, my fingers tracing the velvet of his muzzle, his soft breath fanning over my face. And I'd wonder, could this be love? One evening as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky and hues of fire, I stayed longer than usual. Edward was away on business and the house felt too empty, too silent. The soft rustle of Thunder's mane, his low comforting nudge, they filled the void, or perhaps created a new one. And then the moment everything changed. Thunder's nozzle wasn't just affectionate, it was intimate. It was as if he knew my heart, my deepest desires, and in that quiet barn, with the hay underfoot and the shadows dancing on the walls, to let go. How does one explain such a bond to anyone, let alone their spouse? The guilt gnawed at me. But the inexplicable need for this connection was overpowering. And now as I stand here, the morning light casting long shadows, I hear the sound of Edward's truck pulling up the driveway. My heart races. What if he found out? What if he knew that his wife, the woman he thought he knew, has been sharing her deepest secrets, her loneliness, her love, not with him, but with a big horse? The door creaks open and my life hangs in the balance. Will he sense the change? Will he see the truth in my eyes? This is where my story truly begins, on the edge of revelation, where the line between right and wrong, between love and scandal, is so thin it might as well not exist at all. Recently, on one of those quiet evenings, when the moon hung over the hills and stars began to twinkle in the sky, I unexpectedly found myself at the heart of a scandal that shook not only my life but the life of our entire village. It all started when I, as usual, went to Thunder stable. I loved those walks. They brought me peace and a sense of unity with nature. But that evening changed everything. Edward was absorbed in his work in the field. He always said the land was his life and I was his greatest happiness. There was such conviction in his words that I couldn't help but believe him. But apparently I underestimated how deeply rooted my need for love and attention really was. That evening when I came to the stall where Thunder understood, I felt something strange. The air was filled not only with the scent of hay, but with something else, something intimate, forbidden. Thunder as always greeted me with a quiet nigh and warm breath. His eyes, like three bottomless lakes, beckoned me to look into their depths, but this time they seemed different. They were filled with a warmth I couldn't explain. I ran my hand over his neck, feeling his muscles move under my fingers. Suddenly Thunder pressed against me, and at that moment something inside me turned upside down. It wasn't a simple gesture of friendship. It was something more, something forbidden that made my heart race faster. It was then, in complete silence under Thunder's soft snorting, that I felt a growing thirst for something new, something forbidden in my life. There were many moments when I felt unloved when Edward spent too much time in the fields, leaving me alone with my thoughts, and Thunder was there always with his quiet and loyal presence. With each day I spent with Thunder, I felt my attachment to him changing. It wasn't just friendship. It was love, strange, unusual, but love nonetheless. And so one day, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in colors of passion, I allowed myself to fully feel the connection that had developed between us completely and without hesitation. But who could have known that my secret encounters with Thunder would become known throughout the village? It happened one evening when I lingered too long, forgetting everything. Returning home, I saw Edward looking at me differently. There was something dark in his eyes, something I couldn't read. He only said, "I've been told about your walks." The words caught in my throat. I didn't know what to say. This was the end of my world as I knew it, but it was only the tip of the iceberg. The next day, as soon as I left the house, felt all eyes on me. Rumors spread faster than the wind, and I became the subject of gossip and condemnation. People whispered, pointed fingers, and my shame grew like a weed in a garden. I couldn't look Edward in the eye. He was silent, but his silence screamed louder than words. There was so much pain and misunderstanding in his gaze that my heart broke into pieces, and it was then in the midst of all this pain that I began to wonder, could I have prevented? This was my love for Thunder, something I could control, and Thunder. His calm gaze, his unwavering loyalty, his quiet and now seemed like a mockery of my life. He didn't know the chaos I had created around myself. Now, when everyone in the village knows I was with Thunder, I am faced with questions I cannot answer for myself. What was it? Was it love or simply the desire to feel needed, loved? And so at this moment when everything seems hopeless, when my world is falling apart, I wonder what awaits me next. Will Edward ever forgive me? Or will my life never be the same? And all that's left for me is to fade into the shadows, into oblivion. And at this tense moment, I leave you, dear listeners, with the question: can one love someone or something so deeply that it becomes their downfall? It was the kind of night when the moon hangs heavy in the sky, casting a silver glow over everything. The air was thick with the scent of hay and the distant sound of crickets. I remember standing at the stable door, my heart pounding like a wild drum as I watched him. His muscles rippled under his sleek coat, his mane flowing like dark silk. There was something in his eyes, an ancient wisdom, a wildness that called to me in a way I couldn't explain. And then I stepped forward, drawn by an inexplicable force. I never thought I'd find myself here, tangled in a web of secrets and desires that even in my wildest dreams I couldn't have imagined. Yet here I was, with the forbidden, the taboo, the utterly incomprehensible. The very thought of it sent shivers down my spine, not from fear, but from the thrill of the unknown. My husband Edward never truly understood me. He loved the farm, the animals, but he never saw the wildness that lives within us. The untamed part that yearns for freedom, for something more than the daily routine. He would never comprehend why I felt so alive in the stables. Why my heart raced at the sight of a big horse, not just for its beauty, but for the connection I felt deep in my soul. But tonight it wasn't just about any big horse. It was about Thunder, the one who had captured my heart, who made me question everything I knew about love, about loyalty. How could I explain this? How could I rationalize the way my body responded to his presence, the way my mind whispered dark, forbidden fantasies? The stable was silent except for our breathing. I reached out my hand, trembling, and touched his muzzle. His breath was warm, his eyes locked onto mine. In that moment there was no judgment, no society, no right or wrong. There was just us, three beings bound by something far more potent than human conventions. Why does society draw such rigid lines? Why must love in all its forms be so strictly categorized? As I stood there with him, I felt the weight of those questions pressing down on me. Was it love? Was it something even deeper? A connection that transcended species, that spoke to the primal essence of our beings. And then, without a word, I stepped into the stable, the door closing softly behind me. The air was charged with anticipation, with the electric hum of what was about to happen. I moved closer, our breaths mingling, our hearts beating in sync, his eyes. Those deep pools of understanding seemed to see right through to my very core. I knew in that moment that I was crossing a line I could never uncross. But what is life without risk? Without the pursuit of something that makes your very existence feel like a raw, pulsating symphony? As I leaned closer, his warmth enveloping me, I was no longer just a wife, just a woman. I was something else entirely, something wild and free. And then his lips met mine and everything else. All the doubts, all the fears simply melted away. There in the heart of the stable, under the watchful gaze of the moon, we shared a K*******s that was anything but ordinary. It was electric primal, a union of souls in the most unexpected of places. But just as our moment reached its crescendo, a shadow moved at the stable door. A figure emerged from the darkness, a silhouette I would recognize anywhere. My heart, which had been soaring, plummeted. My husband. His face, a mask of confusion and hurt, stood there, witnessing the unfathomable. So there I was, tangled in a web of my own desires, a web that was about to entangle me in ways I never anticipated. How did I end up in this situation? It started with a longing, an emptiness that no human touch could fill. The quiet of the countryside, where my husband Edward was often away on business, left me alone with my thoughts, and my heart yearned for something more, something forbidden. Our farm was my sanctuary, a place where life seemed simpler. And then there was Thunder, the majestic horse whose eyes seemed to see right through me. Our connection was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. It wasn't just about the physical. It was about the unspoken understanding, the silent pact between three beings, seeking solace in each other's presence. But why a big horse? Why cross such a line that society would deem unspeakable? The answer lay in the complexity of my own psyche. The dark corners were unfulfilled, desires fester. Every touch from Thunder felt like a rebellion against the ordinary, a rebellion against my own stifling loneliness. The days turned into nights where I would sneak out, my heart pounding with anticipation and guilt. The boundary between right and wrong blurred. But in his presence, all I felt was an overwhelming sense of freedom, of being truly alive. And then one evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of crimson, I knew I was at the precipice of a life-changing moment there in the barn, with Thunder's warm breath mingling with mine. I realized the depth of my fall, but was it really a fall? Or was it an ascent into a realm where passion knows no bounds? The barn door creaked, a sound that cut through the heavy air of my clandestine meeting. My heart stopped, my breath caught in my throat. Who was there? Had my secret been uncovered? The suspense hung thick, and as I turned towards the entrance, I faced the ultimate question. In the end, her heart raced with the thrill of the forbidden. But at what cost? Leave your opinion in the comments. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel by activating the bell, so you don't miss any of our daily videos. See you tomorrow.